640 feet above sea level and rising for the fourth time in 60 years. We are making history here at Lake Texoma as the lake is topping the spillway. Happened early this morning. This is the fourth time, 1957, 1990, 2007, and now Memorial Day weekend 2015. Welcome to News 12 Special Report, History at Lake Texoma. I'm Maureen Kane.
And I'm Dan Thomas. During the next half hour, we're going to take you from right here at the spillway. You can probably see it going over behind us here, all the way down to the floodgates and all around here, and really give you a sense of what this really means for this water to be going over the spillway here at the Denison Dam.
That's right. We're going to show you a look around the lake at some of the businesses that have been flooding, the effects that this is having on the area and on the lake. But first, we're going to get the latest on the water level. We've seen that the spillway is going over. We're joined now by Colonel Richard Pratt with the Army Corps of Engineers. And first of all, let's talk about what's the inflow and outflow right now. Obviously, it's hit 640. It's
right.
going over the spillway. So what are we looking at, inflow and outflow?
Well, right now, the inflow, earlier when it was coming down hard, it really peaked, and it was up around 300,000 cubic feet per second from that surge of rain that we got. Most of yesterday, it was about 120,000 to 140,000, so you see there's a spike there. What's going out over the spillway right now, you can see it's only a couple of inches, so maybe 100 or 200 cubic feet per second right now. When it reaches a foot, it'll be about 6,300 cubic feet per second, and that's in addition to the 45,000 cubic feet per second that's going through the 2 hydropower units and the gates of the structure.
Just a fraction of what's coming in, though.
That's right.
And so how much higher, I mean, I guess you can't speculate, but do you expect it to rise even higher than what it is now?
Well, we certainly do in our estimates based off of what's on the ground, and we're updating these as we speak, but it's supposed to peak somewhere around 42.5 feet a few days from now, but I think it'll be a little bit higher because that doesn't really take into account a lot of the rain that we got last night.
Yeah,
so it's going to take us some time to work through those
getting
numbers.
hit hard by that rain really all morning long
Right.
here. Where does all that water go once it crosses the spillway?
Once it goes across here, it just hooks around and goes down behind our office and then jumps. There's a little creek here, and it goes right back into the red.
So no threat for anybody that lives near Denison in that area?
No, not at all. Not at all. It was all part of the design of the project when they did it over 70 years ago.
And now, I remember 2007, KXII was here. We were broadcasting live July 7th, and the water going over the spillway, this looks like a lot more at the moment. You think there's going to be more this time around, correct, than last time? Well, it's hard to speculate.
What we estimate right now is that it will be at least 42.5 feet here at the crest. I think it was around 42 last time, and so a little bit more, maybe a little bit more than what we're estimating based off of the rain.
And we're getting more precipitation.
Sure.
How do you determine how much water to let out?
Well, there's a control manual for the projects itself, and so we'll release up to 60,000 cubic feet per second between the structures through the dam and the spillway here until we think it's going to go over 43,000 or 43 feet at the spillway here. Then we'll open up everything, and whatever is coming in is going out. So.
One question that I've gotten from some viewers is, did you just not build the dam high enough? Why are we having the water go over the spillway here uncontrolled? Should it have been built higher?
No, the project's operating exactly how they designed it. So it's designed for us to use this when the lake levels get higher. The dam is at one height, and certainly this is lower than that to allow for pressure. Otherwise, we would have had to put more gates or up at the structure. And
yeah.
So based off of how often this was going to happen, and I think you said fourth time in 70
years.
6 years or so. Yeah. This was what they decided at the time, and I think that it's probably worked out pretty well.
The primary purpose of the lake is flood control. If
Right.
this lake had never been built, we'd be seeing catastrophic flooding then, essentially, is what would happen around here.
Right, certainly. I mean, the rains have come in for several days, and the flood control pool for Lake Texoma is crazy amount. It's like 2.5 million acre feet of water. So if we hadn't held all that water, it would have already been downstream. in addition to all the stuff that we got last night. So,
And when you say downstream, flooding people out downstream.
sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about where you gauge that flooding and how you gauge how much water to let out. Where is that checkpoint?
Well, the DeKalb gauge just east of here, we were out there last night looking at and saw some of the wheat and the cornfields that have been impacted by the flooding before we released here, just from the last several days. But that's really what we use to determine how much water to release here from time to time.
All right, well, Colonel Pratt, thank you so much for your time. We sure do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Colonel. I appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be in touch
All right.
over the next few days. It's not the end of this one.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And we know there are lots of folks still out on the lake, so there is a lot of debris out there. So I would just, we always want to emphasize safety.
Yeah.
Wear a life jacket, watch for debris out there, and just know that the Corps of Engineers is out here working 24/7, making sure things go as planned.
Doesn't look like it'd be a fun day on the lake right now.
Well, not right now, but I'm sure the fish will be jumping.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we saw them jumping
Right.
over the spillway as
Right.
well. So,
Right.
all right, thanks again,
All right,
Colonel.
thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Colonel.
All right, well, let's go on now and out to Kristen Nill. She's at the Spillway Overlook.
Yeah, she's just right a few feet away from us, actually. Kristen, what are you seeing out there right now?
Dan and Maureen, before water even went over the spillway, people were coming out here to check it out and take pictures, and they all wanted a chance to be a part of history.
If I'm standing here in 2015 and part of that, I don't know, just a small claim to, my area and history.
Stephanie Ochoa and her friend Rachel Trumbull are here at Lake Texoma to watch it top the spillway for only the 4th time in history. It first happened in 1957, then again in 1990, and most recently in 2007. Now it's happening again.
Seeing it in person is like really super powerful. Just to imagine that there's that much water here, and then again, that it only does ever happen every once in a while.
Hundreds of people flocked to see the spillway and the water rushing out of the floodgates, taking pictures, capturing video, all anxiously waiting and wanting to be a part of the action. Trumbull says there are few words to describe the feeling of being here.
Exciting, historical, powerful.
When the water went over the spillway in 2007, Logan Hale was just 6 years old. Now she's 13. She and Dory Kirk have been going out to monitor the lake every day.
We were out here the last time, so we wanted to see how it was coming across this time.
Now there are some people here that are brave enough to weather the elements, but of course you do not have to do that. You can watch the spillway as water is going over it on My 12 and the KXII website. Live at the spillway, Kristen Nill, News 12.
Kristen, thank you so much. Certainly a sight to see out there. We've been hammered with rain again overnight, all the rain that we've had this spring. The reason why we're out here today.
That's right. Meteorologist Tom Hale breaks down how all this water ended up here.
It's been a very rainy April and May. In fact, May 7th through the 10th, 7 to 10 inches of rain fell across the Lake Texoma watershed, and it's continued to rain. So by the time we finished up our 3rd week of May, rainfall totals of over a foot across the 39,000 square miles of the Texoma watershed has fallen. Not to mention, up the Red River to the west, 10 inches of rain has fallen along the Red River Valley, all of that draining also into Lake Texoma. So what it means for us is as of May 19th, we are officially out of the drought across all of Texoma. So what's causing this? Well, it's the southern jet stream, and it's full of El Nino moisture streaming its way north across us, combined with a parade of upper-level lows swinging in and wringing out that moisture over Lake Texoma. So we've been below normal in temperature, and we've been above normal in rain. And can it continue? Well, according to the National Weather Service's summer outlook for June through August, the answer is yes. Above normal rain and below normal temperatures because of the continuation of the El Nino weather pattern. Dan and Maureen?
Tom Hale, thank you so much. The rain picking up again right now, and you know they're monitoring that, the Army Corps of Engineers, trying to decide just how much water to let through the floodgates in addition to all the water that's just flowing right over the spillway right behind us.
Yeah, it's absolutely coming down now. That is just contributing to the massive flow over the spillway that you do see behind us. Chelsea Smith did a lot on various marinas that are partially underwater now. She has some of the impact on what's going on with the lake right now and the impact on those marinas as well.
Water was designed to overtop the spillway.
And that is what it's doing for the fourth time in history. Assistant Lake Manager Paul Balkenbush says the lake is doing the job it was created for, flood risk management.
Lake Texoma is functioning right now as it was designed back in the early 1940s, is when the construction was completed.
The first time it topped the spillway was in 1957, then again in 1990 when the lake hit its highest elevation at 644.76 feet. Fast forward 17 years to 2007 when it went over again, and now May 24th, 2015. The Army Corps says they were prepared.
I really think that things have gone as planned and as they should have according to our protocols and our water control manuals.
To slow the rising water level, the Corps turned on 2 hydropower generators on May 18th, releasing just 9,000 cubic feet of water out of Lake Texoma and into the Red River. As flood conditions improved in the DeKalb, Texas area, the Corps partially opened all 6 floodgates, bringing the outflow to 45,000 cubic feet of water per second.
And that's the release schedule right now as it stands, and there is no plans to deviate from that in the immediate future.
The normal elevation of Lake Texoma is between 615 and 619 feet depending on the month. Balkenbush says it's hard to tell when the lake will get back to that level.
It's very difficult to predict how fast it will fall, but it will eventually happen, and we'll all have to wait and see what that rate is.
All right, thanks, Chelsea. And as we said before, you know, this is the 4th time that the lake has gone over the spillway. It happened in May 1957, May 1990, July 2007, when we were right here, virtually in this same spot, watching this happen. And now it's going again in May 2015.
Yeah, you know, the lake was built for a lot of purposes. Flood control being number one, as you heard the colonel from the Army Corps of Engineers just say, but also water supply for area towns, the production of electricity right here. They're producing quite a bit of it right now because of all the water going through here. And on down the list comes recreation, you know, a favorite spot for so many people to come out here and do some fishing. We've been seeing some fish going over the spillway
Easy fishing
earlier.
Right there.
Yeah, you just need a net almost, really, if you could get a net down there. News 12's Justin Fry gives us a look back at the history of Lake Texoma.
Controlling the Red River became a major priority after people began settling along its banks in the late 1800s. A series of devastating floods knocked out bridges and flooded farmlands in 1908. In Washington, lawmakers fought hard to pass legislation to authorize the Army Corps of Engineers to build the dam to gain control of the raging Red. After a long battle, President Roosevelt signed a bill into law authorizing a $54 million project to build the dam north of Denison, which would create Lake Texoma. 4 Oklahoma towns and low-lying areas were abandoned to make room. People were forced to give up their homes. Even a cemetery had to be moved. Gene Lenore, a filmmaker and former news director with News 12, produced a documentary about the history of the dam. He was able to obtain rare archive footage and interviews with those who remember the evacuation of towns like Woodville and Hagerman.
They were devastated. A lot of people had to give up their old homes they'd had forever. They weren't happy about it.
Oklahoma officials launched a lawsuit to stop the construction of the dam, which went all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States. They argued the lake would take land, tax revenue, and change state boundaries. Justices sided with the federal government. That paved the way for construction of the world's largest rolled earth-filled dam at the time. Thousands of trees and brush were removed, as well as 18 million cubic yards of dirt. During the war, Nazi POWs helped by the hundreds with construction of the lake. The dam was completed in 1943, but it only took 14 years for lake waters to reach the spillway, something that was said to only supposed to take place once in a century.
Justin Fry reporting there. Great job, Justin. Well, you know, we're going to pitch to break, but first we want to give you a look at the spillway.
That's right. Look at this. Check out the water going over. This is the 4th time in history, like we've said, and keep it right here on KXII. Don't try to come out. Like the Corps said, stay inside. We're seeing some flooding around here with all of this rain, so stay safe, everybody. Watch it on KXII. We'll be right back.
Well, Highport, Cedar Mills, Big Mineral, just a few of the lake businesses that are closing up shop to protect their property, themselves, and their customers.
That's right, and as you can see the spillway behind us, all this water had to go somewhere as it was rising, and so it did, and it flooded out most of those marinas, which are now closed. Danielle King has more on this story.
Memorial Day weekend in Texoma is normally spent in or around the water. But this year, Mother Nature had a different plan.
Pretty large crimp on our Memorial Day weekend. All of our facilities are pretty much underwater right now.
High water has submerged parts of Highport Marina, making the Island Bar and Grill look like a real island.
The Island Bar and Grill is a very happening place on the holiday weekend, and with that shut down, that's a significant loss in revenue.
Rising water has also made it impossible for some boaters to reach their boat slips without taking a water taxi. Just southeast of Highport, Big Mineral Marina had to be shut down because of storm damage.
We've had floods in the past. We know how to deal with those, but the thing that's tough is when you have a storm on top of a flood.
Tuesday, a storm rolled through the marina, knocking out boat slips and leaving crushed boats in its wake. Owners of the marina, John and Lisa Barnett, say they don't know when they'll be able to reopen.
Memorial Day is shot. 4th of July, I'd say probably a really good chance 4th of July shot.
Downstream at Cedar Mills Marina, employees at Pelican's Landing are bracing for the worst. Linda Mayo remembers what happened to the restaurant the last time water went over the spillway.
Of course, the restaurant set at a lower elevation then, and so we lost some of the equipment, but we were able to salvage quite a bit of it also. But it took us almost a year for the water to go down, to rebuild, and to open back up.
Until the rising floodwaters recede, it's unknown when the marinas will be able to get back to business as usual. At Lake Texoma, Danielle King, News 12.
Thanks, Danielle. Well, you know, flooding around Texoma, it's only going to get worse with more rain in this forecast.
That's right, and we are going to talk all about that after the break. First, we want to tell you the rain is picking up again, and there are more people coming out here to the spillway. Although they're coming out to see it, we urge you not to. Just watch it on KXII, check out the app, and check out KXII.com. It could be dangerous with some of the flooding out here, so stay safe, everyone. We'll be right back.
Welcome back as the rain continues to pour out here on Lake Texoma. The water continuing to rise going over the spillway. Right now, you know, if you have to get out on the lake for any kind of reason, you're going to find out pretty quickly that this is a very difficult situation. Unfortunately, a few people have found out the hard way, including an elderly man who's recovering this morning after an accident on Wednesday.
That's right. News 12 Sean Larson spoke to the two men credited with saving his life and his very grateful granddaughter.
Kendall Thompson is calling the two men that saved her grandfather's life heroes. But the two men say they were just doing their job.
A lot of adrenaline. It's just instinct, dive in and help him.
Robert Price and Tanner Hoagland are buddies that have worked at Little Mineral Marina together for a few years now. They've fixed boats, docks, and buoys, and now they can add saving a life to that list.
One of our elderly customers got on this barge. They were pulling themselves across.
The man was out at the marina with family when he lost his footing. The marina manager saw him fall in the water.
He just yelled, "Hey, 911, full throttle." We heard boss man yell, 911.
So Price and Hoagland raced their boat across the bay as quick as they could.
My buddy Tanner jumped in like 007. I jumped in the water in my cowboy boots and jeans on, jumped straight in, dived in to help grab him and keep him floating. Got up behind him and we got him in the boat just in the nick of time and got him back up to the bank.
They say he was struggling to stay afloat in the water for almost 2 minutes.
You could tell he really didn't have much long left.
Hold on, it's okay. He says the man couldn't stop saying thank you.
The granddaughters, the mother, they were all just thankful we got him back to the bank safely.
That granddaughter says the afternoon outing could have ended tragically.
I just want to express my extreme thankfulness that they were there and helped us get him out and get him into that boat.
The men say they were in the right place at the right time.
They're good people, and we're just glad that their grandfather's all right and he's doing well today.
Thompson says this won't stop them from enjoying the lake this summer, but next time they'll just be a little bit more careful. At Lake Texoma, Sean Larson, News 12.
All right, welcome back to our special Making History out at Lake Texoma. We're going to take another look at the spillway. It is really going over now, and the rain continues to fall here, but not only here, also in the Lake Texoma watershed, and that means the level's just going to keep going up.
Yeah, News 12's Kristen Nill spoke with one man who has a pretty unique way of getting a great view of all the water going in and out of Lake Texoma. All right, welcome back. You know, it just keeps on pouring. That only means more water coming into Lake Texoma here. And as you can see, water going out over the spillway right now.
Still going out. Kristen Nill spoke with a man who has a really unique perspective on all the water that's flowing in and out of Texoma.
Jerry Wright and Joe Denny have been flying planes for years with the Texoma RC Modelers Club.
A lot of us used to fly full-size airplanes, and we can't do that anymore. So we got a hobby.
The club has a field they use to fly their planes, but every now and then they fly around Lake Texoma.
We don't have any facilities out here other than just a grass runway, but we can also come out here and fly, which is why we originally came out here, just to come fly because it's close to the house, and then we saw the water coming up. We decided to start documenting that.
With the help of his equipment, Wright has been able to see just how much the lake level has risen every day as it inches closer to going over the spillway.
We were out here for about an hour and a half and flew 4 times, so I had, about an hour and a half gap between videos, and just in comparing those videos and what was coming up the parking lot there, you could see that it had moved an entire parking space up the parking lot just while we were out here flying.
Right now, the lake sits at just under 633 feet. The lake goes over the spillway once it reaches 640 feet. It's only happened 3 times in the lake's history, first in 1957, then again in 1990, and most recently in 2007. The Army Corps of Engineers says there is no plan for hydropower generation or opening of the floodgates at this time due to downstream flooding in Texarkana.
So it's coming up, I think, probably about a foot every 17, 18 hours. So it's pretty significant. If it keeps going, it's going to get there in about 8 feet.
In Denison, Kristen Nill, News 12.
All right, as we go to break, another look at the water flowing over the spillway here in Denison.
In many of the areas that Kristen just showed you, underwater, completely down by the spillway. We're going to keep monitoring it just after this.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. we're glad to be out here. We know the historical significance of this being the 4th time this has gone over. And I want to thank everybody for, having us into your homes, being a part of your morning for this important event. I remember 2007, KXII was here for you guys, and we're proud to be here again for you. And we remember the significance of what's going on here today. We're remembering the people downstream, of course, and our prayers are with them. But this is pretty amazing, and we're going to keep bringing it to you all weekend long since it is so important.
Yeah, it is really important, and important that you stay safe. It's a dynamic situation here. The rain continues to pour. Water coming into Lake Texoma at 6 times the rate that it's flowing out right now. So we're going to stay with it. This is going to be a multi-day situation. The Corps of Engineers saying that it has not hit its peak yet. Even without another drop of rain, it'll be days before it hits its peak. We're going to, of course, be staying with it throughout the whole situation. We'll have the Spillway cam up live on My Texoma 12.2 and, of course, on the KXII app.
That's right. Well, thank you for being a part of history at Lake Texoma, our special report. We appreciate you viewers. Stay safe, watch us this weekend, and watch on the web, and stay out of this rain.
And have a good morning.